afternoon, Democrats, and welcome to our very, very first virtual gala. This is the 22nd annual Lawton Chiles Gala, and it's a new experience for all of us. And that's what COVID-19 has taught us. But we are very excited for the enthusiasm that you all have shown and your participation. And I think we're going to have a wonderful evening. So let's get started. Please join me in receiving Justice Alexander. She was the 2020 winner of the Alachua County Democratic Party's Black History Month essay contest. In the fall, Justice will be entering the IB program at Eastside. Let's receive Justice with the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars drew the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the
Thank you. We are very, very proud of Justice. Now, if you will join me in congratulating the Gala team. The Gala team, as you are aware, this is our first time hosting the annual gala during the summer in July. And we had to pull together a team quite quickly. Terry Fleming was going to chair the gala this year, and unfortunately, he could not do that. So here we are, and I'd like to present the members of the gala committee. Cheryl Eddy, Evelyn Fox, Barbara McDade Gordon, Marty McGuire, Bennett Reagan, and our two wonderful Alachua County Democratic Party interns, Emily Canamella and Denise Wee. These young ladies have done a remarkable job in helping us. Okay, Sylvia, if you'd like to introduce the silent auction team.
Good evening, everyone. I probably say this every year, but every year it gets truer and truer about the silent auction committee. There's a group that they just come back every year. They are so dependable. They work hard, and they're a lot of fun to be with. So I thank these people from the depths of my heart. Phyllis Ernie, Mary Furman, Suzanne Kiker, Maggie McDonald, and Mary White. They're just a wonderful group, and they've done a great job again this year under all these obstacles of communication and things like that. We've never been able to get together as a group, but Zoom has helped, so it's a different event. But we have a wonderful auction and I hope you will check it out and bid often. I think we're about to run a pre-recorded clip on a tutorial on how to access the auction. So I will turn that over to the interns, but thanks for your generosity. Okay. Good evening. I am Sylvia McIntyre Crook, Chair of the Silent Auction Committee. On behalf of the Auction Committee, we want to thank everybody who had donated, and for all you future donators that are out there right now to bid on items that everybody donated. It really helps our community that we got so many donations from different businesses. You're supporting the businesses, you're supporting our auction, and you're supporting all our democratic efforts. Thank you very much. I wanted to walk you through the auction sequence. To begin with, the easiest way is, if you're not already registered, is to go down, find your chat button at the bottom of this Zoom recording. If you move your cursor, a bar of buttons shows up at the bottom. Choose the one that says chat. And on that button, you'll see the hyperlink. It begins HTTPS to the auction. Find that. And click on that, and that takes you where you can register for the auction, plus you can view the auction items. So go there. I wanted to give you another option too, which is the Alachua County Democratic Executive Committee sent out an email on Monday that informs you of the auction. Y'all should have gotten it in your email on Monday. And the same kind of link is in there. There's a blue button in the middle of that email where you can click and get to the same page to register and view the auction.
Green do anything?
Okay, go to that, click on that, go to that auction page, scroll down to the bottom, and you can see all the auction items just for viewing. This is not for bidding. So then you will get lured into wanting to bid on a number of things. We've got wine and food and activities, and it's kind of categorized. Okay, now you've decided you're going to bid on something. So go back to the top, and there's a blue Register Now button. If you're already registered, in that square right above the register button, all you have to do is put in your cell phone, and then you will put in your password. But if you're not registered, go to that page, fill in your mobile phone number, your email, etc. It asks for a password. Down there, give it a very simple password that you can remember. You're only going to need it for tonight, and it's easier to remember. Just find something that's easy to remember. You'll need to fill in a credit card or debit card. Again, I want to emphasize that this site is secure. They will not be using your information for anything other than this auction, and it all goes away after 10 o'clock or after they process your credit card this evening. Click the bottom where you show that you're not a robot, and then click Submit. Okay, within seconds, you will get something either on your cell phone or email, and you click on that link that shows up on the cell phone. The cell phone number that they send you looks like it's from something like 515-51, something like that. Click on that link, and you're already registered. It'll ask for your cell phone number or email. You click on that, and then you click, after that, it'll take you to a page where you put in your password, that really easy one. And then you're on the page, and you are able to bid at this point. I think we can show you how to bid. We'll click on that first Publix, and it will highlight your options for bidding, and then an option for seeing details about what you're looking at. You have a choice between just bidding the fast bid. That's what the price is right now. It's at the And then if someone outbids you and you're doing it in that fast bid method, you'll get a notice that someone has outbid you and you can go back and bid again. If you want to go to the bid set max button to the right there, you can set the maximum that you want to pay for that item. And you don't really have to go back and keep bidding until it hits the maximum you have set, and then you will get a notice saying that your maximum has been set for this particular item. And then you can decide whether you want to continue bidding or just let it go and let somebody else outbid you. Bidding continues till 10 this evening. We'll have, towards the end of the evening, will be a discount for things that might not have been bid on. And at 10, bidding will stop. You will get a notice of your winnings pretty shortly after that. Your credit card will be processed in the evening. And then within 4 days after all this, the committee, somebody on our Silent Auction committee will communicate with you about how to get your items to you. We will be mailing the easy ones to mail, the gift cards and things, but the bigger items will deliver them to you or work that out somehow. All right, that's pretty much it. It's really simple. But again, I want to thank you for participating in the bid and bidding process, and thank you for supporting. Have a wonderful evening. Keep Alachua blue. Thank you.
Okay, well, let's get started bidding. Now I invite you to stroll down the gallery of our sponsors. A special thanks to our platinum sponsors, Christina Raymer and Darren Cook, Gladys Coffrin and Daniel Logan. Our Sapphire sponsors, Don Burgess Crop and Harry Crop, Rosalie Bandapadai and Bashkar Bandapadai. Our bronze sponsors, Hunt and Jean Davis, Mike Hastings, Mary Kilgore, Judith Lightsey, the Alachua County chapter of the NAACP, and the Martin Luther King Jr. Commission of Florida, Incorporated. Okay, and our Gala associates, Susan Botcher, Catherine Baker and Kim Emery, Carmen Deere, the Democratic Women's Club of Alachua County, Kaiser Enneking, Doris Harvey, E.L. Roy Hunt, Jacob and Barbara McDade Gordon, Kenneth Wald and Robin West, and William and Carol Zagel. Now, we have a host of our friends of the gala, and we'll leave this up for a minute so that you can see the number of people who have come forward to support us as friends. We're very grateful to all of our donors because, thank you, because as you know, the funds from the gala are used to support our office and to support our candidates. And that is our sole purpose really in trying to bring this affair to you every year and for educational outreach. Okay, Sylvia, if you would like to take the gallery of silent auction sponsors. Okay, you have to unmute.
My apologies, a mouthful of appetizers.
Oh.
Yeah, we thank the silent auction sponsors. They've been wonderful, and there's quite an array here from individuals who have donated gift certificates that they purchased, or they are donating their own services. But I will let you read through those. Yeah, it's unfortunate on the website that we can't associate their names with the things that they donated, but here they are, and they have really come through with us. And most of these people have donated before, and we're really grateful for them to being dependable year after year to donating to the auction and supporting all this. So thank you to all the auction sponsors. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. And now we have a very special greeting for our participants tonight. We have a greeting from Vice President Joe Biden, Democratic Party presidential nominee.
Hello, Democrats. Thank you all for your service to the Democratic Party and to our country, especially in these tough times. I wish we were meeting under different circumstances this year, but instead we're separated by a deadly virus. Far, far too many Americans have died. We have more COVID infections than any other country in the world, and millions are still out of work. And we're grappling with the legacy of systemic racism, which has kept us for too many years from realizing our full share of the American dream for so many Americans. Today, we're dealing with multiple national crises all at once. We need real leadership, and we need it now. We need leadership that recognizes the real threat of this pandemic, that doesn't just wave a white flag of surrender like the president has. We need leadership that brings everyone to the table, to rebuild an economy that works for working families, creates millions of good-paying jobs for the future. We need leadership that strives to finally deliver on the founding principles, ensure that all men are not only equal at their creation, but treated equally throughout their lives. Because this is a challenge we're unwilling to postpone. Folks, I refuse to postpone. The soul of America is at stake in this election. That's the reason I decided to run. That's why I stand united with every single Democrat in our shared mission to beat Donald Trump and restore decency, dignity, and leadership to the White House. We have to do more than just beat Donald Trump. We have to keep the House of Representatives, and we have to win the United States Senate. And we have to lead and deliver meaningful change for the millions of people who are hurting all across this nation. That means we need strong state parties, strong county parties, strong democratic organizations at all levels across every single state. The stakes have never been higher, and that's not an exaggeration. So we have to work harder than we've ever worked. We need to stand up as a nation, to stand with the Black community and the Latino community, the Asian, Pacific, and Pacific Islander community, to stand with workers, to stand with every person who's ever been knocked down, counted out, or left behind. If we stand together as one America, we'll win the battle for the soul of this country. Our children are counting on us. We can do this, I am positive. This is the United States of America. There's not a single thing we're unable to do when we do it together. So thank you, and let's get to work.
And thank you, Mr. Vice President. We are anxious to get to work for you. Thank you. Let's go to the video.
American history is not a fairy tale. Thomas Jefferson wrote what many believe to be the most important document in human history. He was a slaveholder. We've never lived up to our American ideals. Jefferson himself didn't. But what he wrote has pulled us towards justice for more than 2 centuries. It's always a fight, and it's a battle that is never fully finished. But if Donald Trump is reelected, he will forever and fundamentally alter the character of this nation. If we give Donald Trump 4 more years, this will not be the country envisioned by Washington. This will not be the nation bound together by Lincoln. This will not be the nation lifted up by Roosevelt or inspired by Kennedy. It will not be the nation that Barack Obama proved bends toward justice. We can't and I will not let this man be reelected President of the United States of America. I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
Okay, let's go to our keynote speaker, and we'll come back when the chairman is here, to the chairman. Cheryl Eddy, field organizer with the Florida Democratic Party and precinct leader with the Alachua County Democratic Party, will be introducing our speaker. Cheryl.
Hi, my name is Cheryl Eddy. I am a field organizer for the Biden campaign. I'm also a precinct leader on precinct 37, and I'm region chair for the Florida Democratic Women's Club. And that's how I met Anna. Years and years ago, when they had me in charge of doing communications for the Democratic Women's Club, I kept seeing this name pop up on the website that was Anna Escamani. And of course, I thought I knew everything, but I didn't know as much as a younger person on this website. But we ended up working together and trying to get the website straightened out. And I still not sure where we're at with it, but it's getting better every day. As technology keeps progressing, we keep learning. But Anna also was so impressive. Representative Escamani led a rally, our first Women's Club rally in Orlando. I'm not even sure, it was a few years ago, the first one, I think 3 or 4 years ago. And wow, it was just wow. Representative Escamani has just been an inspiration for us all. She has been fighting for us, women's rights, equal rights, LGBTQ rights. She is a rising star. And I want to let her tell her story because she can say it better than I can. And I introduce to you our Representative Anna Escamani.
Thank you so much, Cheryl, and thank you for Democrats who are here with us this beautiful evening in Florida, and to Dr. Chestnut for your work as well, an excellent facilitation. I know COVID-19 has brought many unique challenges for us, and of course, transforming everything into a digital age. It's never the same, but I think our Democrats have done an amazing job in creating moments through tools like Zoom to maintain health and safety of everyone while also still building collective power to elect Democrats up and down the ticket. So, and I'm thrilled to be a part of it. So like Cheryl said, my name is Anna V. Escamani. I am Zooming to you from Orlando, Florida. I see familiar faces in the Zoom screens and the names, but I also see some folks that I don't recognize. I think it's always best to start with some introductions. And I am born and raised in Orlando. I ran for office for the first time in 2018, flipping a legislative seat by 15 points and becoming the first Iranian American elected to any public office in Florida. My story starts with very humble beginnings. I mentioned being raised in Orlando. I'm the daughter of immigrants. My parents actually came from 2 different parts of Iran, but met in Orlando working at the same donut shop. So a true American love story, because who doesn't love donuts? And my parents did everything they could to achieve the American dream. My dad actually was a waiter at a airport restaurant, and went to UCF, go Knights, in 1994, became an electrical engineer on Florida's Space Coast on the weekdays, but then on the weekends worked at Walt Disney World just to make ends meet. And then my mom, on the other hand, had a degree from Iran she could not use, so she worked fast food restaurant jobs and eventually was a department manager at Kmart. And that would be her last job because in 2004, she passed away to cancer. And during that time, I was one of her main caregivers. And candidly, everything that I do is very much grounded in a deep understanding of finding power in pain and of experiencing trauma, having a chip on my shoulder, and allowing me to have empathy for others, to also understand that we need to be committed to building a state and country where no kid has to lose a parent and no parent has to lose a kid to issues that are preventable, like access to healthcare, like preventing gun violence. And everything I do is grounded in that motivation to ensure that every type of Floridian, no matter who you love, what bathroom you use, your documentation status, your disability status, your gender, the color of your skin, who you worship, that you're gonna have an equal chance to succeed in this state. And so that was my foundation to get involved in community organizing as a young person. I also went to UCF myself, and that's where I registered to become a Democrat. I was no party affiliation before, and I will never forget it. It was the summer of 2010. And though I had volunteered in the Obama campaign, had voted for Obama, I wasn't yet really politically engaged. I had volunteered for environmental issues and human rights advocacy, but not so much local politics. And I remember at UCF that hot summer of meeting the college Democrats, a group of young, feisty people, registering other students to vote. And I felt this sense of solidarity with this notion of collective impact, of building power together and using this grassroots energy to help craft a better state and nation. And so I registered Democrat that day and got really involved with the College Democrats, specifically with women's issues. And many folks know that my trajectory into getting involved in the legislative process was very much my personal story of not having access to comprehensive sexual health education when I was a kid. And in my county public school, I had absence-only education. And I'm sure there's folks in the space who know what I'm talking about, because it's not really education. It's grounded in shaming and stigmatizing young people, in trying to create fear to push people away from engaging in sexual activity, versus using science and data and information to help young people make informed decisions. And I had this experience of absence-only education, and I just felt so angry that there would be educators who would I think it's appropriate to use this type of tool when talking to young people, that I went online and I found Planned Parenthood. I walked into a Planned Parenthood Health Center when I was 18 years old. And for those who don't know, Planned Parenthood is the nation's leading provider of reproductive health, education, and advocacy. And I walked into that health center with so much anxiety and fear of going to my first ever healthcare appointment by myself, but I left feeling so empowered and validated that I realized that more and more people needed access to these type of resources. So I began volunteering at Planned Parenthood. I was hired in 2012. And if you've worked at Planned Parenthood in this state, you can do anything. And being in the lion's den in the legislature, talking to both Republicans and Democrats about the importance of reproductive health, the importance of protecting safe and legal access to abortion. And I want to be clear that no matter what your decision is around a person's pregnancy, we can all find common ground that decisions about my body, about to choose to raise a child, to choose adoption, or to end that pregnancy must be between myself, my doctor, my family, and my God, and nobody else. And that foundation was my rallying cry all through my work at Planned Parenthood, working in the legislature. But no matter how hard we would fight, no matter how many stories we would tell, we would keep losing the votes. Every bad bill would pass. We would have some success in the courts, but at the end of the day, we never had the numbers at our local level in our state government to protect everyone's ability to make personal medical decisions, to have autonomy and free agency over our body and over our lives. And that's what led me to have a deeper understanding that there are a lot of elected officials who really are not qualified to be elected officials. And that perhaps, just perhaps, more everyday people could run for office and could replace these folks and could actually lead the conversation as directly impacted people and center the conversation of those that are so desperate in need of amplification that perhaps we could change the layout of Florida politics completely. Now, even with that understanding, I still didn't think the person to do it should be me. And candidly, it was very much grounded in the fact that I didn't see people who looked like to me actually run for office and win. I especially didn't see folks that were young, folks that were brown, folks that were loud. and so I really kind of took this, as Cheryl mentioned earlier, you know, a place of helping others organize, of supporting other candidates, of connecting volunteers to candidates, and, you know, really doing my work behind the scenes to help lift up other folks running for office to try to get the right people in the right places for the best policies. And then everything changed for me in 2016. President Trump won on a divisive campaign that divided us, that tore communities apart, that separated families, and very much tried to fuel fear as a tactic to get out the vote. And as I watched this happen in our community and around our country, I woke up the next day feeling completely rejected by a nation that my parents came to call home, that I have always called home. And I realized that moment that nothing would change unless more and more people started stepping up and putting their name into the ring. And that was my catalyst to run for office as a first-time candidate. And candidly, it was a tough race. And for many women, especially women of color, it's always an uphill battle. And my opponent painted me as being extreme, scary, hyper-partisan. There was one mailer that they did where they photoshopped a hammer in my hand. And I have no idea, you know, if it was like an attempt to allude to communism or whatever it was. But when I saw it, I took a photo of it and I put it online. I said, oh, is this the hammer I'm going to use to smash the patriarchy? And it just took a life of its own. And as I said earlier, we were successful in flipping this seat, and we were the deepest swing blue in the entire state of Florida. And so why do I share that story? You know, why do I give you the perspective of a local election in Central Florida? It's because so many of us get caught up with the national headlines, and we get caught up with what's happening in DC and what Trump is tweeting today, which, by the way, his tweet today was unbelievable. The man wants to delay elections, which we all know the reason why is that when Republicans can't win their elections, they end up breaking the rules or making up their own rules. And so we have to continuously be on guard and work twice as hard, because we're not in a place to allow President Trump to take this election off the books for November. And we have to ensure that we elect Vice President Joe Biden to be our next president of the United States. And we can't take any tweet for granted that he puts out there. But it's a reminder that yes, there's a lot of important news and updates to follow at the national level and advocacy efforts at the national level, but we cannot forget your neighborhood. We cannot forget the ground game that won so many races in 2018 that we're facing a challenge with in 2020 because of COVID-19. We can't forget the number of Floridians who are suffering with a broken unemployment system that was never built to work, alongside a lack of testing options, no small business relief to actually match what the demand is. And it's a reminder of a whole entire collective group of Floridians who maybe have never engaged in politics before, but are now starting to understand how elections have consequences, and how if we didn't have a Republican majority for the last 2 decades in Florida politics, that perhaps the unemployment system would actually work, that perhaps unions would have a better say in the workplace to protect our employees, and perhaps LGBTQ rights wouldn't be a constant fight, but it would be a reality for every single person. And so this is the community of folks that are newly activated, and it's up to us to organize them at a neighborhood level. Because when we aspire to elect folks like Kaiser Ennington and other Democrats you have running for State House and State Senate in areas like Alachua and parts of North Florida and Central Florida, when we focus on those local candidates, you are inspiring folks to vote for their neighbor, to vote for someone they run into at the grocery store, masks on, to really inspire a transformational connection between a candidate and their constituent that tosses out transactional politics, that completely tosses out the nature of Democrats who historically have only campaigned when it's election season versus always showing up for their district no matter what the context is. And when folks come out to vote for our local races and our local Democrats, you know they're going to check off Democrat as they're looking for their name on the ballot. And so my biggest takeaway for all of you is just a deep sense of gratitude. Thank you for what you do every single day. I know the work of our local clubs and our local DCs and our local organizations, that it is a selfless job. I was the membership chair of the Orange County DEC for about 3 years. And so I know this work is not easy, but it's so critical to building local infrastructure and to helping local candidates win their elections. So with that gratitude noted, I also want to encourage you to keep going. Don't be discouraged by Trump's tweets. Don't be discouraged by some of the extremist narrative you see out there. You know, focus on your neighborhood. Focus on the issues that matter to North Florida. Focus on the everyday struggles of working people and the fact that we're not here to give people a voice. We're here to amplify the voice they already have. And if we do that well, and if we do that right, we're going to win in 2020, we're going to win in 2022, and every election thereafter. And so I am so proud to stand with you. I'm so proud to be a Democrat here in the great state of Florida. And I encourage everyone who has the capacity to give tonight, to give to your local club, support the silent auction. Every dollar you raise at a local level will help will help elect Democrats up and down the ticket and flip Florida for Vice President Joe Biden. And so with that, I will toss it back to our event host. And I think our party chairwoman is here as well.
She's here.
So
She's
much
here.
love to everyone, and let's get it done, Democrats.
Thank you. Thank you for a very inspiring message. Very inspiring. Thank you so much. Okay, our chair is here, and Marty McGuire is going to introduce her.
Right. I think most of us know Terry Rizzo already, but I'd like to tell you a little bit about her. She became chairwoman of the party in December 2017, and she also serves as chair of her local DEC in Palm Beach County. She currently represents Florida on both the Democratic National Committee and the Association of State Democratic Chairs, where she serves on the Budget and Finance Committee. Under her leadership, the Florida Democratic Party had record-breaking turnout, which led to the election of the first cabinet member, Democratic cabinet member, in over 10 years. She works very hard, very diligently to elect Democrats, push forward the Democratic message, and I want you to welcome Terry Rizzo.
So much.
Yes.
I'm on. All right.
Yes, you're
Hello.
on.
That's great. Well, thank you so much. And hello, Alachua County Democrats. I am just honored to be back here with all of you for your 22nd annual Lawton Chiles Gala and your first virtual gala. It's such a thrill to be with all of you in a true Alachua fashion. You're doing it with style. I want to be here and bring official greetings on behalf of the Florida Democratic Party to all of you and congratulate your wonderful chair and my very dear friend, Dr. Cynthia Chestnut, on a successful event and a successful year, a successful term. It's great to be here with all of you again. And congratulations, and I apologize for coming in late. I was at another event, but I wouldn't miss this one, so I wanted to get in. And Representative Escamani, I heard most of what you had to say. It's always inspiring, and just thank you for all you do in the service that you perform up in Tallahassee, fighting against those Republicans. And we want to send a lot more Democrats up there to help you and the rest of the team out. We're going to be talking about that. I want to thank the other elected officials here, and all the great candidates I saw as I was scrolling through. Some of those we want to send to Tallahassee, some of those we want to send to Washington, some of those we want to have to local elected offices, because everywhere we need Democrats because it's carrying the Democratic message and fighting for Democratic values and holding those Republicans accountable. And especially, I want to thank our DEC members and club and caucus members and our volunteers. You are the backbone of our party. You are how we do what we do. And I can't thank you enough from the bottom of my heart. And as one of our true blue counties, you're helping lead the charge to turn Florida blue this year and end the 4-year nightmare that is Donald Trump and the 20 years of Republican rule nightmare in Florida. So this is our job this year, and this is what we're doing it. And we have 96 days from today, Alachua Democrats, from electing Joe Biden as the next president of the United States and electing Democrats up and down the ballot. Right here in Alachua, we have Democrats showing up and showing out, and 96 days to go. I'm thrilled by the level of excitement that I'm seeing from you all and engagement from around the state. You know what? For years, we have been preparing for the moment we can say goodbye to Donald Trump, and now is the time. Am I right, Alachua Democrats? I want to see those hands up, everybody saying absolutely. Right. 96 days to go. That's just over 3 months. So now what? Well, we know that the road to the White House goes through Florida. There is no way that Donald Trump can be elected president of the United States without the state of Florida. There's no path. He would have to win every other battleground state if he does not win Florida. So we, in a sense, we are a one-state showstopper. If we stop him here, he is not the president. Joe Biden is the president. So that gives us two motivations. Number one, get Joe Biden in office, and number two, stop Donald Trump from destroying us, and not just for us, but for the United States and the world. And I would love to be able to send him home to retirement. right here in Palm Beach County where I live. Mar-a-Lago is about 15 miles away from where I live, and we will gladly take him here in retirement. So that's my job and our job number one. We want to get, and that's why we're all here. We're the largest battleground state in the country. Those 29 electoral votes are necessary for Donald Trump. It all comes down to us and Alachua. A lot is going to be depending on you in getting out the vote in Alachua County. We're doing the work. Now, I have some amazing statistics to share with you to prove that our work cumulatively and your work in Alachua is paying off. Since the 2018 election, Florida Democrats have passed the incredible milestone of 5 million registered Democrats in the state of Florida. And we did that in February. So we passed 5 million Democrats in February. We're now up at over 5,125,000 registered Democrats. For the first time since 2012, we are entering this election year with a greater margin over the Republicans than we had in the last cycle. We have beaten them in voter registration in this past cycle, and we're adding to that. And we will continue to do that digitally. It's a lot harder now since the pandemic, but we're still finding ways to register voters digitally and increase our Democratic margin. We were the first state party in the entire country to implement a full-time voter protection program. And this was in early 2019. Second state to have a voter protection director because Georgia never let theirs go after the 2018 election. But we implemented a full-time voter protection program, starting with the appointment of Brandon Peters and many of you know him as our voter protection director, and he's done a marvelous job building a team that now includes 4 full-time employees through the FDP. It will be augmented through the coordinated campaign also, and voter protection teams in the majority of our Democratic counties. In 2016, we had voter protection teams in 15 Democratic counties. This year, we already have voter protection teams in almost 50 Democratic, counties, not Democratic, but counties around the state. And we want to build for all of them. And that's what we're going to be doing, is building out those voter protection teams because we know what's coming at us. The voter protection team has already done marvelous work in working with supervisors of elections, stopping some voter suppression efforts, instituting lawsuits, that some of which you've heard and read about, and we've been involved in doing what we can here in Florida to stop the voter suppression efforts of the Republicans, because we know what's coming. So that voter protection is critical, and there's a voter protection hotline for the first time since last year. We put it up. It's been in effect. Normally it would go up about this time now, right before an election. Our voter protection hotline was up last year, and people can call with questions through any question you may have about voting and voter issues through our Voter Protection Institute. Now, we also volunteers. In 2016, Florida Democrats had about 1,500 active volunteers registered in the van. Well, this year, as of now, we have over 20,000 active volunteers throughout the state, from 1,500 to over 20,000 and growing. They're on track to complete hundreds of thousands of volunteer shifts and already have made millions of calls and texts, and will be doing many more. And that includes you all in Alachua County, because you're contributing to all of this. You and your voter protection team, your volunteerism, and your active volunteers. In 2016, the Florida Democratic Party had a handful of staff. And I'm proud to say that right now we have built the largest staff in the entire country, over 225 staff that are going into the coordinating campaign to add to the staff that will be able to help take Florida blue. We've had organizers on the ground since last year. We're not starting this year, we've had them last year. And building programs such as our Hispanic outreach community, African American outreach, advertisements, building outreach in many, many areas, including our new coalitions department. We're really, really excited and proud of what we've done. And we also are exceptionally proud of our Vote by Mail program. We already were focusing on vote by mail, but now, and it helped us to that record turnout in 2018. But we've doubled down and actually quadrupled down since the pandemic, as no voter should have to choose between their safety and their health or exercising their right to vote. We want every Democrat to register to vote by mail. And since the March 17th election, over 1.3 million Democrats have signed up or re-registered to vote by mail. $1.3 million. And as of this morning, and I hope everybody's sitting down, I'm looking at you and I think you are all sitting down, and that's good because we have a 564,305 vote by mail margin over the Republicans. I'm going to say that again. 564,305 vote by mail margin over the Republicans. All right. So that means our voters have a vote by mail ballot. And if you like, and it's safe and healthy, and you choose to do so, you can go and stand in line and vote. But otherwise, you get that vote by mail ballot in, and you can vote safely from home. And we have, it is just incredible. And what you all are doing as well, Alachua, you are crushing it with your vote by mail. And I want to thank you for because you're contributing big numbers to that margin. But incredible as it is, of course, the key is to get those vote by mail ballots in. Right? Now we're ahead. But for the first time in a long time, we actually are ahead. Typically, you know how it works. The Republicans start building their margins early. And I just want to say, how does that compare with 2016? Because what we like to do is see what we've done since 2016. In 2016, Democrats had an 8,800 vote by mail margin in registrations and vote by mail applications. Now the Republicans got their more ballots in, and so we ended up losing vote by mail by about 20,000 votes in 2016. We had a slight margin in applications, but we lost by about 20,000. We have a huge margin now, and we would need to get them all in. So we are going up on them early, and we want to stay up on them as we go through and get all of those ballots in. So everybody, how many here have a vote by mail ballot? Hands up, hands up. All right, get those vote by mail. All right, let me ask this. How many have returned them? Aha, okay, good, okay. All right, so we want to get them in. So everybody who has received a vote by mail, make sure you sign and date the back of the envelope. All right, make sure you do that. Fill it out correctly and get it in as early as possible. The recommended date for mailing a vote by mail ballot is 14 days before the election. So in order to get it in and to be contacted if there are any issues. So that would be 14 days before August 18th is August 4th. So please mail your ballots in by August 4th or hand deliver them. Of course, you can do that. And then do it again in November when that comes out. So Alachua Democrats, we have the opportunity this November to defeat not only Donald Trump, but to flip critical seats in the Florida legislature and help augment our seats up in Tallahassee in both the state house and state senate, and protect others, including others in Alachua County, because we have to demand more from our local and municipal leaders. Now is the time to put down our heads and keep going even harder. As Chairman Tom Perez said, we may be up in the polls, but let's not get on the roller coaster. Let's just put our heads down and go to work. No matter what the polls say, of course, we'd rather be up than down. We'd rather be us than them right now. But at the same time, let's continue to do the work and run through the finish line. We cannot get complacent. Don't believe the polls. We must always work as if we're 10 points behind. The country and the world are depending on us to get out there, to organize, to make calls, to send text, to do digital organizing, to do whatever we can do so that we elect Joe Biden and the Democrats all across the country, up and down the ballot. I know you've heard it a million times, so I'm just going to conclude by saying it one more time. This is the most important election, not just in our lives, but in American history. Today, we said goodbye to John Lewis, a pioneer, a true hero in American history. Let us honor his legacy by getting out our vote and beating Donald Trump. Let us win the battle that he fought so long and hard to do. Let us win it for him. We have the opportunity now to say goodbye and no thank you to the ugliness and hatred and divisiveness of the Donald Trump administration. We have a chance, and I don't think this is hyperbole, we have a chance to save democracy as we know it. And so we have a chance to win. You've done incredible work here in Alachua County. I'm so proud of all the work that we've done around the state and that you have done there. Let's dig even more and work our fingers to the bone. There are now 96 days to get it done. I know we can do it. Let's go blue. Let's go Joe. Let's go Alachua. Let's win this. Thank you, Dr. Chestnut. Thank you, Alachua Democrats, and let's win it. Thank you.
And thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Madam Chair. We are very pleased to have our Supervisor of Elections in the gallery tonight. with us. And so maybe Bennett could put a spotlight on her so you could say a special hello, because she has done an excellent job in the vote by mail.
There she is. All right, all right.
Yes.
Hey, sit there. I want to take your picture. Hang on. There you go.
Okay.
All right, there you go. That's
Yeah, Kim Barton. Kim Barton. She has led us through our vote by mail registration, and she's just done a marvelous job. So that's why we're so ahead. Thank you. And thank you, Madam Chair. That was very, very inspiring.
Thank you.
And we want to now take a special tribute to John Lewis. And I think the chair has summarized it best. The way to honor John Lewis is by voting, by taking people to the polls, by getting them registered, and not voting alone. And for our tribute, we're going to have one of our committee members, Barbara McDade Gordon, who is a precinct leader for Precinct 46, and she's going to lead the tribute. Barbara?
Okay.
There.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you very much, Cynthia. And thank you so much, Chair Rizzo, for that work that you're doing, and those data are just fantastic.
Thanks to all of you.
Welcome. As Cynthia said, my husband, I and my husband Jacob are the precinct co-leaders of Precinct 46 here in Alachua County. And my heart and head have been so full of hope and joy these past several days as we watch the honoring of Representative John Lewis. We are indeed grateful for the life of John Robert Lewis. He lived his life as an example. He told us the way, and he showed us the way. At his memorial service in the U.S. Capitol on Monday, we were privileged to hear him deliver his own eulogy, and who better than him to do it? Therefore, this video tribute to John Lewis begins in his own words. He told us, "Get into good trouble." Representative Lewis.
My philosophy is very simple. When you see something that is not right, not fair, not just, say something, do something, get in trouble, good trouble, necessary trouble.
He was always different than every member of Congress. Everybody knew what he had done. He was John Lewis.
We're marching today to dramatize to the world that hundreds and thousands of Negro citizens denied the right to vote.
Congressman Lewis gave us the blueprint to organize and to legislate.
The reason why he's effective as a leader is because he's lived it.
We made a decision to march in an orderly, peaceful, nonviolent fashion from Selma to Montgomery.
You are ordered to disperse. This march will not continue.
I was hit in the head. My knees went from under me. I thought I was going to down the bridge.
If John Lewis, as a 19, 20-year-old, wasn't doing what he did, I would not be here.
We will march with the spirit of love and with the spirit of dignity that we have shown here today.
The whole time he was in the movement, it was frightening, knowing the danger, knowing what could happen.
You cannot replace a John Lewis.
He's the most courageous person I ever met.
Too many people struggled and died to make it possible for every American to exercise their right to vote.
He challenges the conscience of the Congress.
Bring common sense gun control legislation to the House floor.
40 years later, John Lewis continues to inspire us.
Are you with me? Let me hear you. 3 civil rights workers that were murdered for trying to help people get registered to vote are looking down on us.
This is a time for action. That's what I learned from John Lewis.
There are forces in America today want to take us back, but we're not going back. We're going forward.
Thank you. Thank you. We have had several Democrats this year to pass away, and Evelyn Fox, our precinct leader from Precinct 19 and president of the Alachua County NAACP, is going to lead us in memoriam for Alachua County Democrats. Evelyn?
Good evening, Madam Chair and fellow Democrats from Alachua County. I am honored to have the task of recognizing members of the Alachua County Democrats who have passed away in 2020. They are David Colburn, Terry Fleming, Elmer Pop Henry, Jack Price, Julia Reiskin, and Barbara Rotunda. May their memories forever live on, and all the work that they have done, I challenge all of us to do the same. I would be remiss if I didn't say something about Julia Reiskin and Terry Fleming. Terry was our go-to person. And Julia, we will miss as an office volunteer during this election. We will miss her bicycle parked on the outside of the Democratic Party office. May we bow our heads for 20 seconds in memory of these great Democrats. Thank you. And in memory of these great men and women, I challenge all of you to help us to elect Joe Biden, President of these United States. And the only way we could do that is to get out to vote. So I challenge you to get out to vote in memory of these wonderful, great men and women. And encourage your friends and family as well to vote by mail. That's what we're really pushing, vote by mail. And as you heard the chair said, try to get your ballots in 14 days before the 18th to assure that your vote is counted. Again, rest in peace, Democrats. Gone, but you will never, ever be forgotten. Thank you.
Thank you, Evelyn. Very, very nice. Okay, now we're going to move to the part of the program where we introduce our elected officials, and we will offer our Democratic candidates an opportunity to say a word or two, not a full campaign speech, but a word or two to us this evening. And we're going to have the introductions by Marcy Stefan, who is our state committee woman and precinct leader for precinct 47, and Richard Hayes Powell, who's secretary of our party and precinct leader for precinct 30, I can't see it, 22. Marcy and Richard, please.
Good evening, everyone. Richard, I can't see you. Are you there? Where's my partner?
He's there. There he is.
Richard, always dashing. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Democrats. I'm very excited to be here, and thank you, Madam Chair, for asking us to do this. It's been a wonderful virtual gala, and quite frankly, it's been the most comfortable gala ever. Thank you. Thank you for those tributes. On a personal note, I miss my wingman very much, and I know they're all here with us today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna leave Richard to kick off the elected officials, and we just want to thank everyone for being here.
Okay, thank you, Marcy, and I'd like to add my words of welcome to everybody here tonight. And I will begin with the elected officials, beginning with Representative Clovis Watson Jr.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and all participants for putting together this wonderful forum for our gala virtually. I'm honored to be a candidate for Sheriff of Alachua County. I'm honored to have served as a police officer for nearly 2 decades. I'm honored to have served as a city manager and as your state legislator for the past 8 years. And when we look at the fact that we have lost such great men like John Lewis and many others, it is critical that we take on the mantle, take on the charge to do what they started for all of us. I would not be here today if it were not for the hard work and the strength and the courage and the drive of many who came before me. And I often say we can because they did. And I want to continue service in the capacity and fight for the rights and the fairness and justice for all, bring the community together during this most critical and difficult time in our history. And I'm honored to do so. And I ask for each of you to consider voting for me as your sheriff for Alachua County. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Representative Watson. Our next elected official is Sheriff Sadie Darnell.
Thank you also for hosting this wonderful event. It's so different than it has been in past years, but it's still a wonderful and an honoring occasion for all good Democrats. I want to remind everyone that I'm the only candidate for the office of sheriff that has been a registered Democrat for over 40 years. Both my parents, God rest their souls, were considered to be golden Democrats, having voted each for over 50 years. I'm currently the only woman sheriff in Florida. I believe that women bring a definite set of strengths to their position, whatever they hold. I have built an agency over the over 13 years that I've been sheriff, which meets or exceeds every recommendation from former President Obama's task force on 21st century policing, every single recommendation that his task force made. I ask you to judge me on my past performance so you know that my future performance will be very similar. I ask you to judge me on my integrity and my dedication to the field of public safety and ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff Darnell. Our next elected official is our great Supervisor of Elections, Kim Barton.
So just want to say hello to everyone. I'm so glad to be here. I just want to thank you all for allowing me to serve another 4 years, and I'm very appreciative. We've been working really hard at the office. Vote by mail is crazy. It's going through the roof. We're working very hard, a lot of late nights, but this is what we do. This is what we plan for. And so as what has been said, have an early vote by mail ballot. Please don't wait, get it in. You know, we've been pushing it, we've been encouraging it. And so please help us do the same, because we want to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to vote. We don't want any excuses. So it's just like insurance policy. I look at a vote by mail ballot as an insurance policy. You have it if you need it. So just encourage others to vote by mail. And thank you again for allowing me to serve you.
Thank you, Supervisor Barton. Our next elected official is Tax Collector John Power.
Okay, I think we're set. Good evening, everyone, host and attendees. Thank you so much for a wonderful event. And thank you for allowing me to serve all of you in my capacity. And I want to let you know that I will be filling out and signing my ballot and mailing it in tonight in dedication to two wonderful members and dear friends, and that's Julia Reiskin and Terry Fleming. I will miss them both greatly. It's been an honor to know both of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Power. Our next elected official is Clerk of the Court, Jesse Irby.
Hey there, I hope everybody's doing well. The clerk's office is open. I'm honored to serve. I hope you're just staying safe, and if there's anything you need, feel free to reach out to me.
Thank you, Mr. Irby. Marcy.
So I'm going to be introducing the candidates for Congressional District 3, starting with Adam Christensen. Welcome.
Hi. Hey, everybody. Most of you know me by this point, but my name's Adam. I think one thing that we really have hammered on, especially here tonight, is the fact that politics is personal. It's emotional. And for us to be able to fulfill the mandate of the Democratic Party, we have to remember that how we treat the least of those in our society is a reflection on our values, and it's a reflection on who we are and who we want to be. And so, I'm running really because I think that we have to be better. I'm running because, we don't have a choice. We have to fix a lot of things in our society, and we have to start here at home. And so I really appreciate your vote on August 18th. Thank you for having me, and glad to be here.
Thank you for being here. So we go on with friend of the gala, Philip Dodds. Philip, welcome. Hi.
Hi. Hey, Marcy. Thank you. And hey, Richard. I would like nothing more than to be able to let down my guard and get back to a sense of normal. But we're not going back. So let's create a new sense of normal, a normal that works for everybody. What if equal justice were normal? What if healthcare we could afford and count on were normal? What if a clean environment and economic opportunity for everyone were normal? So I'm Phil Dodds. I'm running for Florida District 3. It's time to elect someone who cares about the people of this district. I've lived in Alachua County for 25 years, raised my family here. It's my home. You're my neighbors.
Florida House of Representatives.
I'm a problem solver professionally. I help doctors make their medical practices more successful. We must work together to protect health and restore trust. We must build a government and an economy that works for everyone. Thank you for your support. I know a lot of you, and I know a lot of you are supporting me. I have some meaningful local endorsements here. Let's continue the conversation at my website, votersforphildodds.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. And now we move on to Tom Wells. Tom, welcome.
I forgot to unmute earlier.
Don't worry, it happens.
I got it now. Thank you so much. Well, to introduce my campaign really is to speak of political strategy, innovative, integrated solutions. And as Terry Rizzo alluded to earlier, saving the world, we got to do it. Now, the just and true patriotism of the BLM protest intersects a number of topics. One that we've not spoken of before, in my knowledge in this race, is for-profit prisons. For-profit prisons are an abomination. Prison should itself be only for rehabilitation. Any profit-making aspect should be discounted and eliminated, whether it be funds, paying for food, getting a sub-minimum wage. We have to take care of people if we're going to rehabilitate them. They should have the vote while they are in prisons. There's nothing in the Constitution to preclude that. Let us do all that is just. There are so many injustices, it's difficult to count. I do hope you would visit my website, tomwellsforcongress.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tom. So now I'm going to kick it back to my partner, Richard.
Now we have candidates for Florida House of Representatives, beginning with Gala Associate Kaiser King.
Hello, Democrats. It's a great night to see you all. I know we're all craving actually being in the same room together and getting to socialize, but gosh, even on Zoom, you guys all look really good. So thanks for having me. I'm running for the Florida State House, District 21, which is basically from 13th Street west to the Gulf Coast. And I'm doing that because, as we all know, we need more access to healthcare here in Florida. We need to expand Medicaid. We need to reduce prescription drug prices. And we need to make sure that Florida becomes a more just and humane state. That was all before COVID-19. Now what we've seen is we need new leadership, and we need it today. I'm so grateful to Representative Watson and Representative Escamani for fighting the good fight, but we need a blue tsunami, not just a blue wave. We need a blue tsunami. So I'm running to be part of that coalition that changes the culture of this state and turns us into the great state of Florida that we all know and love. So thanks very much.
Thank you, Kaiser. Our next candidate is Yvonne Henson.
Hello, Democrats. I'm so grateful to be here tonight. You know me. I've been with the Alachua County DEC for maybe 15 years. I'm a mother and a nana. I'm a double gator. I'm a 4th generation Alachua Countyan. I retired as a school principal after 14 years, but I was an educator for 40 years. I do want to tell you that I've been a precinct leader. I've been the membership chair of this great organization, and I know Terry Fleming and Julia Reiskin as though they were my best friends. I will miss them greatly. My heart has just been filled in 2020 and today with John Lewis. I've also been the owner of my own company serving low-performing schools across this nation, and I've been the Democratic nominee for U.S. Congress. My message is very simple. I want to make Florida a leader in public education again. I want to encourage leadership in environmental stewardship, criminal justice reform, and housing. The call to raise the minimum wage, you know, to $15 will no longer work. It's almost needing $25 today, and it takes 2 and 3 jobs to pay the rent. And we need to change that so that parents will have time to spend with their children and veterans will not have to sleep on the street. We need systemic change from the White House to City Hall, and I want to be in that change. Thank you so much for allowing us to say a few words.
Thank you, Yvonne. And now our last candidate for Florida House of Representatives is Rodney King, friend of the Gala.
Rodney Long.
Rodney Long.
Trust me, I've been called worse. I've been called worse. Good evening, Democrats, and certainly want to say hats off to Chair Chestnut and the team for having a very successful 22nd annual Child Gala and the first virtual. I can tell you the bottom line, probably gonna look a lot better than having to eat chicken tonight. I am a lifelong resident of North Central Florida. I've been involved civically and politically here for over 40 years. My involvement started as president of the Martin Luther King Jr. Commission of Florida. I'm also founder and president of the Loan Foundation. I've served in public office, first on the Gainesville City Commission for 6 years, 1 year as mayor commissioner. I've served on the Alachua County Commission 2 terms as chair. My colleagues around the state of Florida also selected me to serve as president of the Florida Association for Counties for 2 terms. I was extremely honored to be invited to the White House by President Obama to discuss issues facing the nation's counties. My campaign has been endorsed by the Florida Education Association, not because I'm an educator, but they believe that I'll be their best advocate. My campaign has also been endorsed by the Florida Federation for Children. My campaign has been endorsed by the AFL-CIO and the North Central Florida as well, Labor Council. My campaign is also endorsed by the Florida Medical Association to find a group of our medical leaders currently on the front line fighting for COVID-19. The issues in the state of Florida are very, very challenging. Social justice reform, education, affordable housing. I believe that I am the most qualified and best qualified candidate to hit the ground running to be able to address these challenges that we have in Tallahassee. I please ask that you visit my website at www.rodneylonghousedistrict20 to view my qualification and experience. Thank you very, very much, and go Democrats.
Thank you, Rodney, and apologies. And now I'm very happy to pass the baton back to Marcy.
Sorry about that, this muting and muting thing. So I am going to be introducing candidates for sheriff, starting with Sheriff Sadie Darnell, friend of the Gala, and Clovis Watson Jr., also friend of the Gala. And I'm going to pass it back to Richard.
Okay, and now we're going on to property appraiser, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, we have 2 candidates with us tonight for property appraiser. Matt Geiger, friend of the Gala.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Gala committee and Gala sponsors and fellow Democrats. My name is Matt Geiger, and I'm running for Alachua County Property Appraiser. For the last 28 years, I've been privileged to work with many great community leaders, with many great Democrats. I spent 20 years working side by side with Vaughn Frazier, Alachua County tax collector. He taught me how to love and care for our community, how to serve our property owners, how to serve our workforce with competitive wages, with robust benefits, with respect and care. And I've also had the privilege of an opportunity of working side by side with the Alachua County Property Appraiser staff. So as the executive director of our tax operations at Alachua County Tax Collector, I continue to work with many of Mr. Crapo's staff on a regular basis, assisting our property owners and business owners. With that said, I have much concern and deep care for the well-being of the employees of the Alachua County Property Appraiser's Office. Our employees are the most valuable resource. They deserve a leader who cares for them and for our citizens as much as Ed Crapo does. Your choice as the next Alachua County Property Appraiser is to vote for a candidate that can lead this organization of 55 employees, who can wisely administer a $6 million budget, oversee a tax roll of 103,000 parcels, to ensure that our schools, our local government, and our services get properly funded, and to ensure our citizens and local businesses are served with integrity and with respect. This is a big job, a critical position. I believe I have the leadership experience, the customer service experience, and the heart to lead this organization, and I would appreciate your vote. Thank you. Sorry for the problems with the mute button.
Thank you, Matt. And our next candidate for property appraiser is Aisha Solomon.
Thank you for this opportunity. I am glad to be here, and I found the mute button. I tried to push it too early just to be sure. But listen, my name is Aisha Solomon. I'm running for Alachua County Property Appraiser, and I'm so grateful to be here. I'm a lifelong Democrat. I started working at the Property Appraiser's Office in 2001. And after nearly 20 years of service, after working in customer service and exemptions, residential, commercial, tangible personal property, the administration, now I'm currently in the administration department, and rising through the ranks to an administrative manager, I believe I'm the most qualified to take over this office during these difficult times. My boss, Ed Crapo, will leave behind very large shoes to fill, and I look forward to honoring his legacy and continuing his work. Under my leadership, our office will continue to embrace new innovative technology, enhance community outreach, while increasing exceptional customer service to all taxpayers of Alachua County. My website is aishasolomon.com. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Aisha. And now it's back to my dear friend, Marcy.
Sorry, I have to mute myself between, if not, you're gonna hear my kids running around. So I'm gonna introduce county commission candidates, starting with Miss Anna Precia. Hey, Anna.
Okay, welcome. I think you can hear me, right? Okay. Thank you all so much for this opportunity, Madam Chair, and all the Democrats that are on the call today. I was really inspired by Representative Escamani's speech and talking about how politics are local, and it really is true. And like her, I'm a person who's been working in the community, both at institutional level at UF, developing and building programs and trying to implement policy to make our world a better place by being more sustainable and focusing on local business and local economy for generations. And as I've worked, I've realized again and again, it always comes back to policy. Almost every decision, almost every time we've run up against a problem, it's been because of a need to change or to address a policy issue. And so I realized I need to throw my hat in the ring, and so I have. And I'm excited to potentially serve as your next county commissioner. And I will be prioritizing our local economy. I will be prioritizing our environment, and I will be prioritizing equity and justice for our community. You can find out more about my platform at annaforalachua.com. And I really appreciate this gala and the opportunity to still come together in spite of our distance. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I'll continue on with our next candidate, Kevin Thorpe. Welcome.
Thank you all so much for doing this and for having us and for giving us this opportunity. So I've had a lot of years of service in Alachua County. I started off in 1998 as the senior pastor of a church. Then I became heavily involved in grassroots organizing, working to empower neighborhoods. One of the things that we learned as we would send representatives out into the community is that we always had to start where they were. In the neighborhood where our church is located, it's located deep on the east side, and there were a number of things that we thought were of importance to the community. But when we talked to them, the things that they revealed were things that didn't even show up on our radar screen. And we were initially concerned about public safety and economic empowerment. But when we talked with them directly, their primary concern was water pressure. And because we were able to work with them on things like water pressure, then we were able to work on speed humps, the cleanup of T.B. McPherson Park, the building of the 35th Street Park, infusing more than $3 million into the Duval neighborhood, building the first skateboard park in Westside Park, changing RTS bus routes so that seniors could make it to their doctor's appointment and to get their medications. So I have a long history in grassroots service, and I've served more than 21 local organizations, from Habitat for Humanity all the way to Gainesville Hippie, training parents on how to be their child's first teacher. That's why I'm involved in this race, and I ask for your continued support. Please visit votethorpe.com.
Thank you so much. And now I'm going to kick it back to our best dressed man of the gala, Richard Powell.
Oh, thank you. We're happy to have two candidates for Alachua County School Board with us tonight. And the first one is friend of the gala, Dion Mcgraw.
Okay, good evening, Democrats. How are you this evening? I am Dion Mcgraw. Of course, I'm excited to be here with you. As you know, I am your candidate for Alachua County School Board. And I'm like John Lewis. If I see something, I must do something. And as you know, our kids need us here in Alachua County. Our achievement gap has remained 45 to 49% for the last 5 years or more. And as a volunteer that's been involved in this public school system since 1992 and in this community, we need to make sure our children have an equitable education for all that are involved. And so I ask you, you've heard my campaign, ensuring all children can read, making sure kids have two options, whether they're going to work or on to college, and transparency. I am the candidate that is committed to serve, and I have the courage to lead. And I ask you this evening to remember me. Early voting starts August 3rd up to the 15th of August, and then election day. And so remember, Dion Mcgraw, it is time for a change. Thank you this evening.
Thank you, Dion. Our final candidate is Leonetta Mcneely.
I see a line in front of me.
Yes, we can hear you, Dr.
Okay,
McNeely.
very good. I'm Leonetta Mcneely, and I serve as your Alachua County School Board member. And as an educator for 38 years, I have worked tirelessly to put children first, support our families, empower all school employees, and build collaborative partnerships. I'm running for re-election because I believe all Alachua County children deserve a high quality education. That requires me to continue speaking out and working to bring about much needed change. The work is not easy, but we can do this work together. I ask for you to speak out at our school board meetings. I ask for your voice also to be heard at the ballot box. I humbly ask you to re-elect Leonetta Mcneely for the Alachua County School Board on or before August 18th. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Leonetta. And now it's back to Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Richard and Marcy, for an excellent job. And we will go to our closing conversation with President Obama and Vice President Biden, our next president.
Can you imagine standing up when you're a president saying, it's not my responsibility? I take no responsibility. It's not, I mean, literally. Literally.
Those words didn't come out of our mouths
No,
while we were in
no.
office.
I don't understand his inability to get a sense of what people are going through. He just can't relate in any way.
Well, and one of the things that I have always known about you, Joe, it's the reason why I wanted you to be my vice president and the reason why you were so effective. And it all starts with being able to relate. If you can sit down with a family and see your own family in them and the struggles that you've gone through or your parents went through or your kids are going through, if you can connect those struggles to somebody else's struggles, then you're going to work hard for them. And that's always what's motivated you to get into public service.
My apologies. We made a very, very big mistake, and I please want to offer apologies to our outstanding school board member, Tina Certain. The fault lies with me because I made up the list, and I certainly apologize, but we would like to hear from you because you've had a very, very busy season. Tina Certain.
Good evening, everyone. It's no slight taken. I am glad to be here tonight. Thank you all for a wonderful event. It has been a very busy year for us in the midst of a pandemic, but I have had a very good first year and a half in office. We ran on a platform of equity, accountability, and community engagement, and we have had some community engagement the past 6 months or so. I am thankful for the support of our local party as well as the community engaging with the school board and the district, making their voices heard. And I ask that you all continue to reach out to the governor and the Commission of Education and let them know that they need to add some additional language to that and modify the executive order, because it is not safe to return to school now and to decouple that decision from funding. So that's kind of got a whole lot of people a little skittish about doing anything and keeping things closed in brick and mortar right now. So we feel that we're kind of under the gun, but we thank you all and good luck to all the candidates, and let us all get our vote by mail ballots in and encourage others to get to the polls and vote so we can turn Florida blue and flip the White House.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And now we come to the end of our program. This has been quite an experience, and we want to thank all of you for your participation. I think we've heard very inspiring messages, but the one I want you to take away is vote, vote, vote. Do not vote alone. If you go to vote during the early voting period, August 3rd through August 15th, take a neighbor, take someone from your church, take someone from your family, but do not vote alone. Call people, most of all, call them to inspire them to vote by mail, because that's going to be the safest way for them to vote. And I hope that by you having the opportunity to hear from our wonderful cadre of candidates, you see we have quite a great selection that should inspire you to want to go to the polls as well. Thank you for supporting us, and thank you for your participation. And this brings us to the end of our evening. We will stay on for another 30 minutes to run the how to bid in the auction, if you need more directions there. But otherwise, this brings us to the close, and I want to thank everyone for your participation. Have a good evening. Thank you.